What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Rooted Asian American Youth Ministry Roundtable. We are 2 episodes into our new year, and we got some new friends joining us today. We also have some older friends, oldish friends,
Careful how you
old
say that.
friends.
Who are you referring? Who are you referring to
I'm
right
pretty
now?
sure I'm the oldest one on this podcast, but
Vampire.
we got some friends. I'm gonna let Huey introduce himself and what does he love about the springtime.
How's it going, everybody? Happy New Year again. My name is Huey, and I serve on staff at Christ Central Presbyterian Church in Centerville, Virginia. What I love about the springtime, maybe just seeing more green after seeing so much gray and white. I love the green, so yeah. It's color of life, man.
Color life.
Mhm.
Dorothy, I'm gonna throw it to you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Dorothy Lau, and I am the youth director. Sorry, I forgot my role for a moment. Youth director at the Chinese Bible Church of Maryland in Rockville, Maryland. And my favorite thing about spring is track and field season because I used to be a track and field athlete. And
Wow.
it is a sign for me that I can start throwing discus again.
Okay.
Wow, that's cool.
And who do you got next to you today? At this, I know for all of our non-visual, because it's a podcast. I
Oh,
realize.
yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah.
So you can't see who's next to Dorothy, but we can. So who you got next to you?
So next to me is a beloved sister in the faith, and I haven't known her for a ton of time. It's been just over a year and a half, but I met her through my cousin, and she's been a breath of fresh air. Good. Don't let that get to your head. She's been a breath of fresh air, but someone who I'm really grateful for because she understands the nuances and the intricacies of ministry and has seen many different seasons of things in life and in family, and she keeps it real. So, further ado, I'm gonna let her
I do.
introduce. This is Esther. She can introduce herself a little more.
What's up, Esther?
Hi, y'all. I'm Esther. I am not in youth ministry, but I've been a PK for 28 years, so I've seen many things. I'm also recently joined the leadership council at my church, so I kind of see things in that lens. And I've been in part of like kids ministry, and I've also been in higher ed. So I've like walked life with college students and was a youth myself, so I have things to say.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
And we want to hear it.
Let's turn on the volume. Yeah.
And do you like the spring season or do you
I
hate it?
do. I love the spring season. I recently moved to DC. I hate the cold, so being in DC in the cold, it's like seasonal depression times 100. And the spring is like, oh, the sun, it exists. Welcome. So I do love the spring.
So the three of you guys are in the DMV area.
Yes.
So just a new term for me. How long, because we don't have seasons in Texas. We have summer 1, summer 2, summer with allergies, and that's it.
Yeah.
When does the cold snap out of it? Like when does spring begin? Because we just know about it. We don't. experience it.
Sometimes it's just a teaser. It doesn't actually snap out. I think there's teasers in like as soon as late February,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't officially get out of, that temperament, pun intended, until maybe like mid-May.
Yeah.
Mid-May. That's our
Yeah.
swim season.
Exactly. So the pools don't open until Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And then they
Okay.
close Labor Day.
Okay. And do you guys suffer from seasonal allergies as well? Because I know spring down here is
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh, it's terrible out here, man.
Okay.
It's especially terrible, but it's kind of bearable.
Oh.
It's like whenever I'm looking through retreat responses for kids and like dietary restrictions and allergies,
Yeah.
like I have seasonal allergies. Like it's winter retreat, you'll be fine.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, with that, let us spring into our episode. Today we'll be
Nice.
talking. Today we'll be talking about the springtime forecast in youth ministry because I know this as this episode drops, we're jumping into the back half of our, well, I guess the middle of our youth ministry calendar, and so wanted to give you guys some practical thoughts, some of our massive failures, oversights, these type of things as you guys are thinking through ministry, or you're like, how do I plan for the season? What are students like? How are their hormones? So on and so forth. And so let's start with this question, shall we? When you hear the word spring semester in youth ministry, what comes to mind for y'all? Esther,
I
it's
think
it's
of,
you.
yes. Well, I think of is like endings and goodbyes because spring
Oh.
semester usually means end of the academic year. But
Okay.
then it also reminds me like a sense of newness because it's a new year. So like things are new, but we know things are coming to an end after
Oh,
the semester. So it's like a both and for me.
okay.
Hmm,
And
that's good.
when's graduation for you guys over there?
Like late May, early
Yeah.
June.
Okay, so it's about the same.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Hmm.
okay. Dorothy, what about you?
I have a less profound answer. I
I
think
know. I
of
think we'll all
relationships.
You think of
relationships.
relationships.
Because ever since college, and I just see it in general, is like in the springtime, every other person is looking for a relationship, and then it carries until the summer. And then
Mm.
fall is inevitably when people break up. But anyways,
Oh.
yeah.
Mm,
So spring term is like, oh, who's looking for a new relationship or who has finally made it official after months of being unofficial?
okay.
Oh,
And
interesting.
just from
Oh, but in
anecdotal
youth
experience in the
ministry,
youth in your youth ministry, is that probably
it is not as prevalent, but they don't got to tell me for me to know. Even if they're not in an official relationship, sometimes I'm just like,
it's always a
Yeah.
spring?
what's going on here?
Yeah, I get it. I get
Uh-huh.
it. Okay, okay. Huey, what about you?
A little similar to Esther. I think when I think about spring semester, I'm actually thinking about the end. And when I say the end, I'm thinking about my senior class graduating.
Yeah.
I have that class just in my thoughts a lot, all throughout the spring semester. And then probably the other thing is coming out of winter retreat and then kind of sort of surviving the winter together. I'm thinking about like how do we help our students think critically and deeply about their faith, right? So like, like Easter is right there, and
Mhm.
during that springtime is when we offer like confirmation class or baptism class. So just kind of um renewing old faith, that type of idea, and maybe teachings and even preaching through more apologetics stuff, or more, through the Gospels, maybe,
Mm.
just kind of getting the life of Jesus, like, kind of coming back to the basics of faith, right? So those are the things that I've thought about in the past.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think for us, we used our fall semester to kind of do the building, whether that's theological foundations or community setting, and then we used the spring, primarily January to about May. We would use that for discipleship and missions, just kind of prep it up
Oh,
so
that's
that
good.
they can ramp up to summer. And so for us, it was hopefully they learned something in the fall, and then it was the application of that in the spring. But when I was thinking about spring semester, I always go first and foremost with I use January as the refresh reset button, laying down foundations and just kind of reminding them what the vision of the youth ministry is. Because I think we have that in August. We run September to December pretty hard, and then winter retreat for us was kind of the midterm exam. And then by then I realized most of our people forgot why we go to church. And so for me, January was like a restart, right? I mean, like, resolutions and that type of stuff. And so that's kind of why I wanted to kind of start with that.
Are you noticing more teenagers in your life struggling with stress, anxiety, or depression? You're not imagining it. With political division, school violence, and the accelerator of nonstop social media pressures, today's teenagers are facing challenges unlike any generation before them. All of us at Rooted want to introduce you to an important new book, Teenagers and Mental Health, a handbook for parents, pastors, and youth leaders by psychologist and biblical counselor Monica Kim and veteran youth pastor Danny Kwon, published by our friends at New Growth Press. This comprehensive, gospel-centered guide helps parents, pastors, youth leaders, and other caregivers better understand the mental health challenges so many teenagers are facing today. The authors show you how to spot signs that a teenager is having trouble so that you can reach out to offer help. Drawing from decades of experience, Monica and Danny offer practical tools and biblical insight for supporting struggling youth. Grab your copy using the link on our website and grow in gospel equipping to support the teenagers in your life.
Let's say someone is pretty new, let's say first year, maybe 3 years into youth ministry. When they are thinking spring, what's a general practical way of thinking through the calendar? What are some things that they should be aware of when you approach spring semester? I know we said graduations, but is there anything else that we're missing in terms
Ooh,
of
girl,
helping
AP season.
Okay.
AP exams, like by
And,
by
and why is that so
April,
big?
well, by April they just disappear. And so a lot of the rhythms that have been developed in our ministry, or just like for the fact of them coming, like I have 11 student leaders, and they've been a tremendously present group now. But I must say that in the last few years, it was kind of a hit or miss at times that like the seniors would disappear because of college apps. And these are leaders, right? And then the spring they would disappear because of APs. And again, they're leaders. So in response to the disappearances, which is really great magic tricks, not really, we had to be more upfront about our expectations for student leaders moving forward. And so I think for a lot of ministries, you just not only anticipate that students may be participating less because supposedly they're studying, but it might also be a time for your ministry to reassess, like, how do you even want to organize your quote unquote programming in that season if you know that you'll have a lot less teens?
Okay, so Dorothy, I'm going to ask you to give us some practicals with that. How did you deal with this? And then Huey, I'm going to throw it to you. How would you counsel parents as AP season ramps up, knowing that they have to go and study and get the grades, but they're members of your church? All right. So Dorothy, I'm going to ask you, how do you do the practical? How'd you do it? And then Huey, I'm going to throw it to you on the parental side.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Dorothy.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually still figuring it out. I think that our calendar has gone through a few iterations in the last few years because of this. And we've done a couple of things. One is maybe have a game day or have like a mini Olympics, as some other ministries might call it. So organizing our students by their small groups or by their grade groups, and they're participating in some silly, frivolous games against each other for points that they don't know what the values are. So it's a funner activity, and it's a little lighter on learning, but it's for community building purposes. Other things are maybe having offsite events like ice skating, or
And this is during AP season? Okay.
or bowling. We might have workshops even, so lighter topics like the theology of this or that topic. In the past, we had like the theology of Modern Family, or the theology of gaming, the theology of anime, right? And just breaking down more niche interest topics that even if students have APs, then we're also like trying to minister more to the middle schoolers in this time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not sacrificing like a fundamental foundational element
No,
if they
no.
left. But then it's also, do you find out when you start doing this more, I guess, niche thing, you still have, I mean, would the AP students, would they go? Like, would they be drawn to come to youth ministry?
So a big thing that I always try to remind my students is we're all busy.
Yeah.
And how you manage your time is very vital to how you get to enjoy your leisure time.
Yeah, that's good.
And so if they know that they have not managed their time well, or they're simply just participating in way too many things, but doing it mediocrely, I think they know how much effort that they'll need to prepare for or to study. But I always try to tell kids, like, you can only do so much. And one thing that you won't have is you're not always going to have a youth ministry to enjoy. So while we're always here, you won't always be here.
Yeah.
And this is a very limited window for you to be fed
It's good.
because eventually you're going to be in a position where you may have to feed others. And
Yeah.
we're teaching you how to feed here.
It's good.
Mhm.
Huey, help us out with the parents.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard both of you guys say this in the past. This idea of like certain circumstances and rhythms create opportunities, right?
Mm.
So there's a great opportunity for parents. So if your high schooler is, is the one that's taking the AP and they're stressed and they're tired and burnt out, I think you could actually create opportunities where you can create smaller spaces, right? Especially if you can't come out to a youth group function, a youth
Mm.
group event, you could always invite youth leaders to come and because I think our student whether they are stressed or whether they are bored, they still need community and relationships, right? And how powerful would it be for parents to invite youth leaders or some close friends just be like, a day or two before their exam, just to kind of pray together, just to have just maybe even an hour of not talking about APs, just to be silly and just to be laughed, just to be with those that are closest to you, right? And I would also say, during AP seasons, for example. Now this is an opportunity for parents of like, for example, middle schoolers, as Dorothy was saying before, to like really take advantage of that season where youth group might feel thin, but you create intentional space for younger students to like really connect. And
Yeah.
like it's an opportunity for youth leaders and parents to invest in their younger ones so that they can experience community, right? So they can experience what they watch and observe what their older students might experience, right? So I think these rhythms and circumstances just kind of create other opportunities, and you just need to be sort of strategic and intentional about how to leverage those things,
Yeah. No, it's good.
so yeah.
It's good.
If I can quickly just like also make a comment
For
for the
sure.
parents, just because I took a lot of APs, I think this is also an opportunity for the parents to teach the kids what are your priorities. My parents always said, is your priority God or is it studying? For me, as your mom and dad and someone who walks with Jesus, our priority is, oh, first and foremost, Christ. And if your priority is studying, okay, but when with our experience, like God and walking with Jesus in our spiritual life is far better and far more important. So this is an opportunity for parents to be like, what's your priority? Is your priority grades, going to the best college, getting the best grades, or is it your relationship with the Lord and relationship with your church community?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that really stuck with me for ever for my life
To
now.
this podcast.
Yeah, until now. Because even when I'm like, I don't want to go to church, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, I remember my parents saying, Esther, what is your priority? Like,
Mm.
where is that? And I think it not only applies to students like in high school and in middle school, but it applies after that too, of like, where is your priority?
100%. And can we also be honest on this topic that it is hard. It's
Yeah,
not just, I mean, you can't just say church or school or church or work or church or
right.
relationship. I mean, it's both and sometimes it's either or. There's so much to it, and I think that's where the refining comes in.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
think, or it's in that, okay, there are days where I have to kind of give up. I can't take as many AP classes. And I think
Right.
if if you're a parent listening or if you're a youth leader talking with parents, I think these are the hard conversations at the granular level where you have to start going, okay, you can't worship at all of these different altars. You have to be able to
Ooh.
sacrifice certain things. And hey, like grades, AP class ranking, that might be affected. But then if it's not, then what are we doing? We're modeling that there's these things, the career path is our God, and our God that we worship really isn't the one that we kneel at. And so, um, man, I go, if you can get that early on, maybe January, February, to the parents, especially, and maybe even do a special session for your upperclassmen as they get into it, early on, so that when it hits the AP season's final exams, it's not that big of a whiplash to go, hey, hold on, like it's almost giving the heads up, hey, we're going to be talking about this. We might be challenging you, but we're going to do this now when grades haven't come out yet, right?
Right.
And what are we doing? We're discipling our people to love the Lord with all their heart, soul, mind, and,
Yeah.
with their strength.
We are thrilled to announce Rooted's new book with New Growth Press, The Jesus I Wish I Knew in High School, Asian American Edition. Being a teenager is itself an overwhelming experience, but the struggles unique to Asian American teenagers can often lead them to wonder if anyone truly knows what they're going through. In this book, 12 authors come alongside Asian American students to share their own high school experiences, helping students to see how Jesus makes a difference in our unique struggles. Jesus sees them and knows them fully. These testimonies of growing up Asian American include struggles with belonging, performance pressure, fear of failure, living in an honor shame culture, eating disorders, sexual assault, and adoption. The writers now walk faithfully with Jesus in their ethnic and cultural distinctions. These stories lift up the Asian American experience with dignity, offering representation and belonging. We hope you'll read this book and share it with the Asian American teenagers in your home or church.
Man, we can do this forever, but it's like our time is really, really short. I think we're just having so much fun. Couple last questions. Are there anything in the spring semester that people really need to be aware of? Things that have really like tripped us up in our spring, things that we've overlooked. Maybe that's even planning for the summer. What are some, just help our youth leaders out in terms of navigating the spring? What you got? Best advice?
I think just keeping in mind that spring semester is it feels so much longer.
Yeah.
Like the fall goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
And then typically, if you have a winter retreat or a winter conference or something, I mean, you're exhausted with all the holiday stuff, traveling, all that. You're pretty depleted when you enter January.
Yeah.
And then just spring semester is so long. And not to mention, I feel like church calendar, like church-wide calendar gets busier in the spring too,
Yep.
right?
Or like a resurrection or something.
Something like that.
That's a
Some pretty
longer
big.
weekend than Christmas, man.
Yeah.
Christmas part two. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think I think one practical thing is be mindful of the church-wide calendar
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and how your youth ministry can be a part of what the church is doing.
Mm.
And so that you're not only caught up with you and your ministry, right? Because your leaders are part of the church and your students are part of the wide church. So just taking a step back and asking, um, what sermon series is the church going through, or
Mm.
what are some things that you know our church is that the whole church is looking forward to, like if the church is sending a missions team in June or July, and they're going to be preparing several months prior to that, how can you make room and space in your youth ministry calendar to support the the mission team that is going wherever, so
Yeah.
and just leveraging those things that are already on the church-wide calendar so that you're not like overbooking, or you're not stretched too thin,
Yeah.
right? Just to be mindful, like your students and your leaders are part of the what church-wide.
Yeah.
So how can you help them invest in the life of the church as well?
Yeah.
Right.
If I can add on real quick, just remind yourself that your leaders are probably they're in a really busy season, especially if you have accountants, and people who work in finance. I mean, that spring semester is going to be extremely busy. But also remember, parents are trying to plan for family vacations way before the
Right.
summer. And so
Right.
you have to be able to count and accommodate for these type of things, which means if you can get out a youth ministry calendar with dates a year in advance, if possible, that will help families plan. I think families want to be part of youth ministry, but if you start springing things on, like it's hard. They can't choose. You make them choose from a family event versus a church event versus a youth event. Sometimes that's just not fair. So just kind of keep that
Yeah.
in mind as you're considering everyone's calendar, not just what you want to do with your students. And your leaders might be all over the place in terms of family life and stage in life too. So,
Yep.
Dorothy, Esther, y'all have anything?
I'm just reminded of how much I had a family tell me at some point, they're like, why is the youth calendar so long? I was like, what? Like, we want to plan a vacation, but we're also helping with the Vacation Bible School or VBS, and that's like immediately after school ends, and there's like no break in between, so like we can't take a vacation. I was like, oh, facts. Okay. So I ended up just agreeing with the rest of my youth staff. We're gonna end the youth calendar a week earlier than school, so it's not aligned one-to-one perfectly.
That's good.
We generally
good.
start a week after school starts, and we'll end a week earlier than school will end. And part of that is because, again, if it's so hard for us to prioritize and schedule rest outside of the church calendar, then it's basically now the philosophy of we will have to schedule rest within our own ministry calendar because families are not electing to do that.
Yeah.
And because we wanted to give them more margin, and that's something I personally value for them because I also don't really practice that myself. So as long as they can actually get that into practice, and they're serving in so many other ministries and being in a trilingual, tri-congregational church, you're absolutely right, Huey, is we do have to be very mindful and conscientious of the church-wide calendar, but not simply because of the congregation for English, but because of the other two Chinese congregations. And so
Yeah.
the one thing that I try to do is to not add to what we have already laid out for the entire school year. Instead, I said, let's either take away or repurpose, but never should we add, because we don't want our families to feel overburdened with always being at church, but not actually reaching out to the families or to their neighbors or being with people that they want to share the gospel with. So that's why I do value and prioritize margin in the calendar, even if it feels longer. But as we've been saying throughout this entire time, is being purposeful, being intentional, being deliberate, being very mindful. And if we don't create that margin, then we're just going to get burnt out by the time like the end of February hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's something deeply theological about that too, Dorothy. Because I think for whatever reason in the Asian American church, we feel like if we're not doing something, then
You're lazy.
We're wasting time, or it's you're not getting your bang for your buck, right? Or whatever that
It's like if
looks
you're not getting ahead, you're falling behind, kind of that philosophy.
yeah, or sometimes it can even get super toxic of like, oh no, this is the church, y'all need to create all the things for us.
Yeah.
And the problem is, no, we're supposed to help disciple you, we're supposed to equip you to do the work of the ministry, right? Not so much us always to do it for you. And so I would say, man, think if they're not thinking that through that theologically, I think for us who know better, who understand these things, we might have to force the issue for them because it's a part of discipleship, right? And so, Esther, I'm going to give you the honor of wrapping this up. Final thoughts on spring semester.
I really think when it comes to youth ministry, intentionality is so important. And like, especially in the spring semester, it's like, when I think of summer, I think of like summer break, everybody's kind of loose and we kind of lose them. So springtime is the time where you can be really intentional and go super deep, where you give them the tools of so that you can set them up for success in the summer, where maybe they're not as regular, or maybe like they're going on vacations. So like they're not coming to church as regular, but you equip them with the tools where they can continue to foster their spiritual growth and spiritual life in the summer. So I think of spring semester also like go deep, go super deep. So when summer hits and they're not there as regularly, or like you're not there, or you're on break, they still have something to hold on to from that spring semester. So then when fall semester comes back, it's like, all right, let's see how you practice what you learned in the spring.
Accountability.
With that, let's end it, man.
Teach them how to cook so they know how to eat,
I know. Well, friends, I appreciate not only your wisdom, but also your insight, and just being able the fact that we can do this as a team, but also as friends, cheering each other on in ministry. So Thank you, Huey, Dorothy, special guest Esther. Appreciate your time and just what the Lord has been able to do through you and for you guys as well. And so, listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate every single moment that you entrust us with your time. We pray that you are equipped so that you are able to make disciples of all your students and their students and everything else like that as well. If you want to continue to keep up with us, you can find us on Spotify or anywhere else you get your podcasting. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we are the Rooted Ministry. That's something like that. Yeah. Just follow Huey. Follow Huey's account, and then you'll find the rest of us. But yes, we pray that your spring semester is fruitful as you follow Christ and his gospel. And so we thank you guys. Have a great spring semester, everybody. See you.
Amen. See you.
Amen.